G'day, and welcome to Say It With Guitars. I'm your host, Pete Cornelius. Each episode, I'll be digging deep and getting to hang with some of Australia's finest guitar pickers, songwriters, producers, collectors, and makers. I look forward to bringing you these fun conversations, and I hope you enjoy Say It With Guitars.
G'day guys, welcome, and thanks for clicking on this little bonus episode. I had never planned to release a chat with me as the feature artist, but my good mate Dave Gray was hassling me. He was hassling me, so I gave in and ended up catching up with him and Billy Tarrant at his workshop in Devonport one morning after a show, and just let it all hang out. Had a good chat about all things about my musical career, I suppose. I don't want to give too much away in the interlude. You need to listen to it. So thanks, Dave, for letting me, I guess, spill a few beans and get on the other side of the mic for a change. Now, the audio in this is not great. For some reason, Dave and Billy's microphone wasn't working as it should have done, so it sounds a bit funky and lo-fi and noisy. So apologies, folks, but I guess you can sort of get used to it the longer you spend with it. And a bit of a heads up with the podcast, folks. This would be season 5 this year. I'm not going to push it too hard. I, for a while there, brought out an episode every 2 weeks and had some great conversations. I had some fantastic chats with some dudes and dudettes. But I'm not going to put that pressure on this year. I'm just going to let it be a bit more natural. No more Zoom chats. It's all going to be face-to-face, which I think leads to a better conversation. But it just means that I'm probably not going to be as productive as I have been over the last couple of years. So, if someone's on tour and they're in Tassie, or if I'm on tour and I'm cruising around, I'll try and make it happen. But I'm going to take the pressure off this year and just bring out some stuff when it feels right. So it's not going to be as regular, but I still will be bringing out stuff here and there. So thanks for supporting us and listening in. And enjoy our chat today. Cheers. All right. Hey everyone. Welcome to Say It With Guitars. Today is a very interesting episode. The shoe or the thong is on the other foot at the moment. My mate Dave Gray and Billy Tarrant are here in the workshop, in the Tarrant workshop, and they've been harassing me to get on the other side of the mic for a podcast interview. So today's the day. So I'm going to hand it over to the guys on the mic, and I'll sit back and try and answer some questions and have a stimulating conversation.
Let's get uncomfortable. Yeah.
Thanks, Pete. We're fully prepared for this. We've got absolutely no notes. Had a few people chat to us and have a few questions we may throw at you. But I'd say straight up, is this the most requested interview that you get?
I've had quite a few people who wanted to nominate themselves to jump on board and be, asking the hard questions.
There won't be many hard questions.
Good, because it is still AM. And we did a gig last night, so only one coffee in.
I think we do get little snippets in amongst all your podcast interviews of little bits and pieces about yourself. But we haven't had just before you arrived, there was another customer walked in. And we said what we're up to, and he said, he's a mysterious bloke. We really don't know a lot.
Mysterious?
Don't know a lot about him. Probably because he's just so humble.
Maybe that's the illusion.
Yeah. Or maybe this could be the most boring podcast ever too. We're about to find out.
We are.
And we will ask that gentleman's question. He said, Pete's never toured international overseas, and I said, well, I know he has. So can you give us a bit of background on your international touring?
Yeah, love to. So the first time I did shows out of Australia, my dad took the band, because Dad was he was the manager, he was the bus driver, he was the engineer, he was the agent, so he kind of did everything. So
the overage punter that
that's right.
Into the venue.
Yeah. So the first time, must have been, I went to the States and I was 19. I can't
Which
remember.
Wouldn't guarantee you a beer in a lot of states, would it?
No. I think I even grew a weird little goatee to try and look a bit older. Which we had a ball. We travelled around. We did lots of shows. We hired a little Grand Carnival, which was a Dodge, I think it might have been. And we just cruised around. So we hooked up with a guy called Steve Harvey, who'd been in Australia a few times, and we were his backing band for quite a lot of his tours. So we had a good connection with Steve. And he's based in Chicago, so we flew to Chicago. And then the first thing we did was went to this music store, which he had a really good relationship with. And Steve somehow bought, he's like, no, I've been wanting to buy this stuff for ages. So he bought a drum kit, a bass amp, and he had lots of guitar amps. That was fine. So we basically had enough stuff to chuck in the back of the Grand Carnival. And we just drove around for... It felt like, I don't know how long it was, but it was definitely at least 6 weeks, I reckon.
Yeah,
cruising around.
Yeah.
So basically from Chicago down through the Rockies, down to Texas, and then back up kind of through Louisiana, that sort of loop. And met some great people and had some great times.
And you didn't get to New Orleans?
Didn't get to New Orleans.
But you wrote a song about it.
I sure did. Yeah, I don't know why. It's never, I don't know, it's just one of those cities I've never got
great
to.
city in the
I
world.
really got to make a change. Yeah. You've been there a lot, Dave?
Twice. I've been there twice.
Yeah.
It's you have to go there to experience it. It's hard to talk about it and try and get it through to people how good a place it is.
Yeah.
Dangerous place, but it's at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, how to make get mugged there, but I've never been mugged there. I just had a good time.
Yeah. So that was our first trip to America, and I think I've been there 3 times now since playing. I've never done the get a visa and do it above board. It's always been just sneaking with a guitar and.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be doing that now.
No, America's a very different place to what it was then. Yeah. And I've played a bit in around England. I've done a few tours over there. Where else have I played?
Is that through is that just DIYing?
Absolutely.
Make it up as we go. Sort of thing?
And just connections. So the people you meet along the way go, come hang out and I'll book you some shows. I can stay at my house and here's some gear or here's a car or so. Just really hospitable people who want to make good connections, and I guess just ideally I'll put if they ever come to Tassie or to the mainland or whatever, I can potentially help them out. And
sure.
I think it's a really good feel-good thing that the music community can offer. Yeah.
That happens a lot with us as well. Even though I'm not playing, we go and see bands and wonder if you're coming over.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can't help you out.
Yeah.
So let's we'll go back a few years. Billy and I talked about this the other day. Let's talk about Agro's cartoon corner.
I saw it. Someone put an old magazine article review. For the Dave Dobson for the.
Riverbend Blues.
That's it. Which is coming up. And there was
it is also in your bio that Jane Germain wrote.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
Because you have done some research, Dave.
Only this morning I read that.
Agro's Cartoon Connection. Yeah, so there was a songwriting competition come up. I was 9, and the category I entered was for 10 plus. Oh, you had to be 10 plus to enter it. I don't think they had a junior kind of category. I was like, I'll be right, I'll just enter it. I don't care about this age thing that they're implementing on the conditions. And I won the state. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then the national thing came through and I won that as well. I was like, that's pretty amazing. I won this songwriting competition. And the brief was you had to write about conserving water. So it was like Water-Wise Week or something like this. So I know I just wrote about, places that you can be a bit smarter about using water. Somehow put that into a song and ended up getting flown to Brisbane to the TV studios there. Put up in a nice hotel for a few nights. Got to meet Agro.
Yep, well, that'd be a highlight of your career.
Oh, man, what a dude he was. Anne-Marie, she was the host.
Yep.
And also in the studio at the same time was the band called Girlfriends, like that girl group.
Yep.
I didn't really know who they were, but they were all very cute. And, there's a 9, 10, I might have been 10 by the time the filming was underway. I was like, yeah, they're all pretty cool. And Angry Anderson was one of the main judges for that competition and from Rose Tattoo, of course. And he was on air as well, so I got to stand next to Angry. I think I was about the same height as Angry as a 10-year-old. So that was a wicked experience. I got some cash out of it, I think. Yeah, trip to Brisbane, got on TV. The thing is, in Tassie, we never had Agro's Cartoon Connection.
No.
What,
So-
at all on?
No.
Oh, really?
It wasn't a thing.
Right,
Only until
okay.
Hey Hey came on, and Hey Hey had been on, I don't know, 10 or 15 years in Melbourne before we saw Agro over here.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't
Yeah.
a thing that we actually had.
No. So I came back bragging about it to my mates at school.
I was
like,
going to say, would have given you a bit of kudos.
yeah, they're like, I don't care. Who's this guy you're talking about?
Yeah.
It's like talking doormat.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, that was a good little taster of like, oh, this music thing's pretty cool. You can get to meet people and travel and do your thing. And yeah, it was a pretty sweet introduction.
Yeah.
Can we go back even further? So your interest, I suppose, started in music. Was it a household thing? Was it your dad? Like, where's the initial sort of, I
Yeah,
suppose, interest sparked?
I guess it was through my parents, but not like they weren't players.
Yeah.
Mum, tinkered on the piano a bit. She could play Ferrellis and a few other kind of contemporary classical style pieces. And we had a piano in the house, and I guess Dad always had good albums, like good records in the collection. Ones that weren't radio. It's like, oh, what's that? That's cool. Like sort of interesting ones. So I guess I kind of had an interest in music. I got memories of putting on. There's a show called Alf. Used to be this like.
Alf the Alien.
Oh, the alien, yeah.
So I remember vividly an episode where he came on and he was dancing to old time rock and roll, and he like destroyed the house dancing and singing along to this song. I was like, that's a really cool song.
Yeah.
And then I remember trying to like emulate being Alf and like getting down on my knees and singing this, old time rock and roll
It came
song.
from a movie with Rob Lowe, wasn't it? Rob Lowe? Tom Cruise?
I can't remember.
Yeah, it was a take-off of that. Anyway, keep going.
Right. So I think that's where I first kind of went, oh, this music thing's pretty cool. I like this style of music, this rock and roll style thing. And then I remember my nan, so Dad's mum, she's like, oh, yeah, you like music? Rock and roll, some Elvis and some Bill Haley. She showed me some of those. I think she bought me a tape, actually, of Bill Haley in the Comets. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I like this kind of vibe, this 50s sort of swing, rockabilly blues stuff. And then, Elvis was my idol for a long time. I thought he was pretty sweet with that big, shiny black quiff and dancing around. And then you watch the Blues Brothers and, like, all these sort of things just click, And then so I start playing piano and start listening to guys like Jerry Lee Lewis and Fats Domino, Little Richard. It was like this. So I was a piano player. I took piano lessons for about 4 or 5 years through a local teacher. And he was more of a jazz guy, but he didn't necessarily make me stick to notes on the paper either. He kind of went, oh, you've got an ear for this. Let's just play a bit by ear. Let's do some reading and theory, but a lot of it was just going by feel. So I'd turn up and go, oh, here's a boogie woogie I've just invented. he's like, yeah, it's cool, Pete. No worries. Try this, try that. And now let's get back to the music sort of thing. So that was really nice. But I guess the guitar, I must have been about 8 or 9 until I really picked up a guitar, just an acoustic, just to slamming some chords and that. And then I guess I eventually saved up enough to buy my first electric.
What was it? And do you still have it?
Yes, I do. So my first electric was a Kenora Strat, which was like this horrible red poly finish, which we quickly stripped. And so Dad not recently, but like at the time, Dad bought a Harley Davidson electric glide, so this great big armchair on wheels, but it had a ding in the tank. So and being a panel beater, pretty handy dude, he got the ding out and painted it. And it's like this black to silver burst is the kind of colour of the Harley. Yeah. So we painted my Strat black silver burst. Yeah. It's kind of this weird. I've got it in the car. Actually, I played it last night because Mike wanted to hear. Well, actually, Anna wanted to hear his wife some songs from the first album.
Okay. Yeah.
I was like, all right, cool. I'll drag the old guitar out and. But it was a Frankenstein too, so we didn't keep any of the parts. We got rid of the pickups, and I put a lipstick, like a Kent Armstrong lipstick in the neck, like a Strat pickup in the middle, like an American Standard, I think it was, and a wide range humbucker in the back. Yeah. Okay. Because another connection to this story is there's a guitar player who moved to Bicheno, so half an hour, or maybe 30. 40 minutes from home. His name is Pat Drummond, and he was a left-handed guitar player who used to play in a band called Old 55, kind of like an 80s version of a 50s band, and he got me into some great stuff. But anyway, he had that Strat pickup and he had that wide range just sitting around in one of his like collections of crap bag or box or. So we kind of fixed the guitar up and resprayed it, put some good pickups in it, and had a lot of fun with that. Yeah. That was great.
And that's the one you wrote the first album on?
Yeah.
How old were you for the first album?
Well, the first album, I only did 50 copies. I dubbed.
You got one day?
No. I didn't know, Pete, then.
I hand dubbed, like had a master tape, and I kind of like just did the tape by tape. I think I did about 50 copies and I sold them to friends and family. Yeah. That was called Blue Jam. It was a mixture of blues songs and a few originals. I played most instruments myself on that.
How old? Didn't say how old.
I was 13, 12 or 13.
13, Billy. What were you doing on guitar?
I don't even know if I was playing, man.
Yeah, I'd probably be struggling to get a 12-bar blues going.
I definitely wasn't recording an album.
I wasn't recording an album, no.
Playing some power chords.
Yeah. But it was good, like, because I had the opportunity as well, so I guess there's a few gaps in that little story. So Dad ended up picking up drums while I was sort of learning guitar. For some reason, I think he went to a party somewhere and they had a drum kit there, or there was a band there, and he's like, oh, that looks pretty fun. I'll have a go at that.
Yep, I can actually hear Bruce saying that. Yeah.
Sort of Dad's attitude to a lot of things in life. I'll have a go. Yep, can't be too hard. So I think he just went, oh, this is a bit of fun. I can bash out a straight 8 with not too many brain cells getting activated or damaged. I guess he kind of went, oh, let's do this together. Let's learn some instruments. Let's learn some music. And he sort of played drums in a few other bands that were around the coast at the time. I got to, get dragged along to as a kid, sort of watch them rehearse. Most gigs were late and in not kid-friendly environments, so I didn't get to go to gigs as much as I would have liked, but I got to go to a lot of rehearsals and hang out, and the occasional sort of daytime gig I get to, or I go and see the first set and then go and sleep in the car for the second, third, fourth set. It's like, well, come on, dragging your heels, it's like 4 a.m.
That's not a bad introduction to bands and rehearsals and touring. So
it's great.
A lot of musicians wouldn't probably get that. They wouldn't see that till they're 15 and
Yeah.
starting to do it at school or something like that.
Yeah, so as like a 10 or 11-year-old to get to experience that, it's a very cool way to kind of dip your toes in. Yeah. And all the other players were very hospitable and very willing to share and to help me facilitate as well. And yeah, it was a very open environment. Yeah.
Nice. And you moved into the DeVilles after that, at some stage?
Yeah, so my first...
My small bit of research said you were 15. Is that true?
I guess, well, the next phase, so I had a school bands and, you sort of play within your environment at school, and which was always fun, and it was a chance to play songs that weren't necessarily songs that I would have chosen, so I kind of learned a lot through that.
Did you find it hard to, because you sort of, sounds like you'd acquired a bit of a taste for older stuff by then. Was it hard to find people to sort of...
Well, it's very limited. Like the school, and still is now, the community in the school that we live in is quite a small space. And there might have only been one drummer or one bass player or whatever. I remember, actually, I got a video of me performing at the Princess Theatre. I must have been in year 6 or year 7. I was pretty young. And I had 2 chicks in my band, and they were in grade 10, like drummer, bass player. And because, I don't know, what the music teacher's like, here's your band.
Yeah.
It's like, cool. Get to hang out with these 2 chicks and play some cool tunes. And they were, a bit more accomplished players than people in my age group and stuff. So that was kind of nice too. And I always found myself playing with older people.
Yeah.
And I have done my whole life pretty much, until now that I'm a bit older.
Yeah.
So that's always been great too, is playing and learning from older people.
Yeah, because where I grew up, it's probably maybe a bit bigger community, but like, if your band was going to play at the local Battle of the Bands, you wouldn't have seen any 50s music or anything, or Elvis or anything. Yeah, it was punk and metal and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's probably there if you go looking for it.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah.
So did you have any interest in playing that sort of stuff, like getting into a bit of punk or something like that back in the day?
To be honest, I wasn't really exposed to any punk. I didn't really know it as a genre.
Or like the classic rocks.
The classic rock was there. But really only like, say, Deep Purples or your Led Zeppelins or that kind of, I guess, late 60s or like early 70s sort of stuff. Anything older, like, it was, I know I had access to a lot of Creedence, just hang out with my other mates who were into sort of pretty contemporary, like, I don't know, at the time Nirvana were huge, like that MTV live album came out, and I hated it. I thought it was just trash. Everyone's wearing the T-shirts and they're all...
I'm still not a huge fan, but that's the way it goes,
But I was like...
We can't all like the same thing, otherwise we'd all have the same music. So
exactly. I can appreciate it now, like I listen back to that stuff. Yeah, that was kind of cool at the time. But I guess when you're in it, like I don't know, things are different, and like the appeal is different at the time than it is when you look back.
I think when that Nirvana album came out, it was about the time I was going out of punk and going into blues, so it just sort of didn't fit where I wanted to sit with my music, So and I still do my punk stuff. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. No, I guess Tasmania's pretty isolated, but to live in around St Marys, it's even more isolated. Yeah. So in terms of getting current music, I just didn't feel like it was important. It just felt like, let's just live in the 70s and 80s and be happy with that.
And it wasn't back then, as I like, no one was just jumping on Spotify and seeing what's current or whatever. You're probably exposed to whatever literally people had in their vinyl cabinet, I suppose, and or tapes and CDs.
Yeah.
When I moved down the west coast with my lovely wife, before we had kids and whatever, we lived in a little township called Luina, which no longer exists, and the only radio station we could get was the ABC TV.
Right.
So trying to find music, I had like 3 years there, and trying to find music was virtually impossible.
You wouldn't have had that Grass cartoon connection either.
No, 2 TV stations.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'd have to go. I've got a decent record collection because every fortnight we'd do our groceries and I'd be going through the records and then like the CDs.
Great.
And I remember when we'd moved to Waratah when 24-hour TV came on and we got Rage. And I was working I got up working afternoon shifts.
Oh, perfect.
Saturday night I'd come home, put Rage on. It was
Great.
the best ever, yeah.
Yeah.
Still only had 2 TV stations, but we had Rage.
Yeah. And I remember too, we didn't really have a TV as a kid. Like, for a while we did. Had just like a shitty thing with a the big round screen and like the knob you had to go and turn and.
Yep. You were the remote, were you?
Well, I was the remote. And I think that blew up and I just stopped working one day and we're like, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
We'll just do other things. Yeah. So I think that helped me jump deeper into music, into listening and to learning more about it. But yeah, I think definitely having good mentors. Like I remember Pat Drummond was great, the guy I mentioned earlier from Bishino. He showed me like that Beano album that with Clapton on guitar, John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, and he showed me the Sky is Crying album by Steve Ray Vaughan because I wasn't, I'd heard of him but I wasn't really aware, and then that was like a super deep dive from that point.
I thought that whatever the first album's called, I should know that off the top of my head.
Texas Floods, I think that's the best one.
Yeah, and went home and listened to it. Thought, I've heard nothing like this before in my life. So I went round to a couple of guitarist mates, we both know, I'm not going to mention names, and put it on. They go, that's rubbish, we'll never go anywhere.
Yeah, right.
They just couldn't get it,
Yeah.
Different sort of blues than what most people are used to.
Yeah. Well, it's just like when I first sort of heard Hendrix, I just thought it was noise. I was like, but I probably I think I first heard like live bootleg recordings as well. Yeah. And we all know how spontaneous stuff and like that, how much Jimmy can erupt or play so-called wrong notes because he was just always on the edge. So I just associated Jimmy at that time with being like a bit raucous and out of tune and noisy and feedback. It's like, anyone can do feedback, but now, he's incredible.
Yeah.
He's so incredible.
Yeah. So the DeVilles started.
The DeVilles. Okay, sidetracked. So the first trio I had, I called myself Double Shuffle. Yep. So I was with my dad on drums and a fellow called John Heron on bass, who's from 4 Mile Creek, just down the road, and we'd catch up and jam and do some shows eventually, and then I know what happened. Either Double Shuffle I thought was a bit daggy, or maybe there's another band called, I don't know, I just didn't gel with it. I was like, got to change this up. So yeah, I traded in, what did I have? I had a Gibson Nighthawk we bought from Alice Springs when we were travelling around in the caravan. Must have been in grade 8. And they had, remember the Gibson Nighthawks, like a shrunken down Les Paul.
Blues Hawk? Is that
the Blues Hawk as well.
Yeah,
so they had 2 P90s.
I fell in love with the Blues Hawk.
Little F hole and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but the Nighthawk, this one had 3 pickups. It had like a mini humbucker, a strap pickup, and a slanted kind of humbucker in the bridge and push-pull, and it was like, it did a lot of stuff, I suppose. Yeah. And I saw it in this music store in Alice Springs, and it was knock down, knock down, knock down. It was cheap. So I ended up buying that. But didn't really gel with it. I just didn't like it. So I remember trading that in for a Blues DeVille when I got back to Tassie from McCann's, this tweed 410 Blues DeVille. I was like, that's the tone. I already love that. So I traded that in for that. And then I think, just the DeVille thing, I just went, that's cool. It's like a car reference, but it's also the reference to this cool amp. And anyway, so yeah, the DeVilles were formed. And we had our bass player, Steve Quinn, for a while. We toured with him. Actually, our first tour, which was 1999, and I was 15, and we probably had about, 20 dates. It was a pretty substantial run. And I think we did 3 dates with Steve on bass. And by the 3rd or 4th show, he was just, I think he was having some mental issues at the time. And because he was away from Tassie, away from his people or his family, or I don't know, he just sort of started to fall apart.
So where was this tour? Where were they?
So we'd played in Melbourne, and we'd played in, I think, a few shows north of Melbourne. Played in Wagga, remember that? Going to Canberra. I think Canberra was his last show. So he flew home.
And is this all DIY?
DIY, yeah. Dad spent hours and
Just ringing
6 months
and venues, just going,
ringing the phone book, just going, here's a venue.
Yeah.
What if they do music? They'll put us up.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily about getting cash. It was just like, all right, cool. Let's get some miles under the belt.
Awesome.
Let's maybe play for stay. They'll put us up, maybe give us a meal. But the main thing was around the Narooma Blues Festival that we had that date.
Okay. Yep.
And that was like the cherry. So we wanted to kind of tour and.
Yep.
But so after our Canberra show, we had to fly over our friend Phil Wilson, who'd done a few gigs with us here and there, just like jams around the state. Actually, no, more around Lonnie Lilydale area. We got along really well with Phil. He had a good groove, good pocket, good sound. And fortunately, he'd broken his leg, so he had time off work because, he couldn't go to work. So we're like, Phil, come and join us on tour. He's like, I've got a broken leg. He's like, oh, no, it's perfect. You're off work. Come and hang out with us. We'll lift all your stuff. We can do all the lugging. So all the first tour, Phil's like on stage sitting down with his leg up on a road case, playing bass. It was classic. And, he'd be in the back of the high ace.
Before Dave Grohl did, because didn't he have to...
True.
He had the throne.
He did have the throne.
The leg,
Yeah, so Phil's the OG,
There we go.
broken leg rocker. So I think that was the DeVilles, was that group. So me, my dad, and Phil, and we, had a really great connection. Dad and Phil got along really well. It was just a great little unit.
That's so good. I suppose having those older guys around you that can do the organisation and put all that, like bands I was playing in at that, we didn't even know how to book a show, let alone a tour.
Yeah.
Because we could play a song with the business side of things. We wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah, and I was that. I'm wondering now whether it was nature or nurture, but I was that shy. If I was busking, I wouldn't sing.
Yeah.
I was so intimidated by exposing myself or letting a piece of my soul out through voice. Like I'd play my guitar all day. That was my safety blanket,
Yeah.
But to sing or to talk on a phone, to pick up a phone and order a pizza, I was like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So Dad kind of did all that. So I'm wondering whether that, like, because he did everything, I didn't have to do it. And I was sort of deeper in my shell.
I didn't get that because I hate it. Still don't like using the phone until I got a job where I had to use the phone, so there was no choice. But even when you sing, like the first time you hear your voice through a foldback, you go, holy, do I sound like that? Do I really sound like that? Is that me? No way.
Yeah.
I'm not singing ever again.
Yeah. And I think especially as a young kid, because your voice is not what it is now. Like you're going through this puberty stage and it cracks and it goes between high and low and you've got this weird, I grew up basically that period on the road, learning who I was and, being mentored by these classic guys. Like, obviously it was my dad, but I didn't feel like that father-son thing. I just felt like some mates and, I learnt from the best. Yeah.
I remember talking to Thomas Mitchell about singing once, and he said to me, he reckoned it took him at least 10 years to settle into his voice.
Yeah.
To feel comfortable to sing.
Yeah.
He sings really well. I got no.
Oh, absolutely.
He's brilliant, but I just thought, I just figured that he could sing.
Yeah.
It took him a long time to get there.
I still haven't found my singing voice yet. I can sing like plenty of other people.
Yeah.
But I don't know what I sound like yet. There could be a good reason for that too. It might be shit house. But I can sing like other people, but I actually don't know. Yeah, I haven't found what.
Yeah.
I think one of my favourite months, I don't want to make this about me, but when we played at Wellborough, when we played the gig at Wellborough, and we did that Beatles song, the One Up to 909, and I come up and sang backing vocals, and the look on your face was like, What the heck? Where did that come from? I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, well, I've hardly ever seen you sing.
No.
So I was like, oh, this is cool. Dave's, on the mic. It's great.
All right, yeah. So the Bills, what happened there?
It's the DeVilles, yeah. So
you obviously changed a few people over the years.
yeah. So
That's the mainstay.
that was the first kind of maybe 6, 7, 8 years, maybe even 10 years of my musical career was playing with those guys. Well, I reckon Dad tapped out after about 5 years. Because I got 2 younger sisters, him being a parent felt naturally obligated to share, himself with the family. And I guess it did feel like, we better give Pete a lot of this energy and time and, create this thing that he's good at and help him. And
then there might have been a time I thought, Pete can order his own pizza now.
That's what it felt like. I felt like Dad's like, yep, tick, I've done my job here.
Awesome.
And then subsequently he bought the local hotel. Sort of left the band and went, all right, cool, I'm going to buy a pub. And still get his musical fix that way, so he'd invite a lot of friends we'd met along the road, on the journey to play at the pub, so he'd still going to get his social fix through that and musical fix. I picked up another drummer who was a friend of mine from Launceston, went to college. Well, he was a bit older than me, but he used to hang out and just be around. So Matt Neal, he was my drummer for a few years.
I met him one night in the pub.
Yeah.
And got chatting to him in the toilets. I remember being there 15 minutes. My wife sent the bouncer in. My husband's in the toilet. He hasn't come in for 15 minutes. Can you go and check on him?
Yeah.
I was chatting to him in the pub,
Yeah, easy to chat with old Matt.
Yeah.
Got to hang out with him for a while. Still with Phil on bass. And then, just naturally, I was writing songs that weren't 3 chords and straight up blues rock. I kind of wanted to get a bit deeper within the genres and started playing more acoustic. And I guess just, naturally it felt like it was a good time to kind of put that band to bed. And then I started touring just myself, going to capital cities and picking up players. I'd do that a fair bit, which felt fantastic at the time. It was a bit nerve-wracking. From having a really tight unit for years and years, you can just pull any song out of the bag and they'd be behind you, Yeah. Whereas I was like, I have to communicate what songs. I have to have a set list maybe and pre-organised songs. And so that was a really nice thing. And then to hear different players interact and interpret my songs with their flavour. And then I could go and meet their people, hang out with their friends, and so it's a really nice way to kind of share and to meet new people and to hang out with other people.
You did that on the last album you put out when you were sort of playing that interstate. I remember you weren't taking a band with you, you were grabbing guys.
Yeah.
And to me that's just that's top tier. That's and I guess you've been doing it that long and built up those connections.
Yeah.
You can literally, put a band together in a capital city and go and do a gig. That's amazing.
And not being too precious about my song.
They could make a mess of it.
I could totally make a mess of it. So you got to choose wisely.
Yeah.
And there has been moments where I was like, I wish I didn't choose this particular individual for this gig. Maybe with a different drummer that'd be great, or a different bass player that'd be great. But this little connection didn't quite gel. So sometimes you do get that. But 99% of the time it's bloody great, and you just take each opportunity like that as its own thing. It's not like it has to be the best gig ever. It's just like this is another step along the way, and
it's probably more economically viable.
Oh, it sure is.
Than carting a band across Bass Strait too.
It sure is. You can turn up with
more things possible, I suppose.
Turn up with a guitar and hopefully use someone's amp and jump in their car, and then.
Yeah.
And then, I've done it through WA, I've done it through Queensland, and it's been a really sweet way to not only meet people, but to sort of just travel as well, get into people's homes, get to hang out with people on that level, and instead of just that hotel room, kind of you feel like a tourist sometimes with your own band.
Yeah.
So it sort of feels nice to get that more connection. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So when did Henry pop in?
Henry Nichols. It's a funny little story about Henry. So, what happened? I had a drum. I think Matt couldn't do a show at the Republic one night in Hobart, and this friend of ours who'd been sort of sitting in with us occasionally, but he's more of a fan, mate, get to hang out, have some beers. He'd come and do a few songs with us here and there. His name was James Dilger, and James was into that kind of more English style of blues. And he'd met this guy called Henry who was playing drums in a few other bands, and he knew that he was into English blues, like through his dad, playing a lot of John Mayall and Clapton and Peter Green and stuff. So I was like, I'll give Henry a call. He might be able to fill in for the night. So Henry filled in, and it turned up with this big white Tama drum kit with a big rack. Like, I was like, oh my God, what have we got here? Like, here we go. And the first song, Henry was excited because he'd seen us, and he was pumped and like nervous about the show, and I think he wanted to really impress me. So he's sort of playing like, Keith Moon's, like just going off, playing everything, all of his tricks in one song. I remember, we both remember vividly, like after the first song, I was like, I know you can play, just settle down. I don't want to hear all your chops in the first song. It's like, we've got 3 hours, mate. Like, string it out. So, and we sort of had a pretty cool relationship. We got along really well, and then I guess he started doing more shows, and then it just became, Henry became a drummer.
He's a good bloke.
He's a legend.
I remember, not sure where it was, I was talking to him one day, he just had a baby, and the only thing he showed me on his phone was his new dogs. Yeah. I got 2 new puppies. What about the kid? Yeah, I got 2 new puppies. Look at those pictures. Henry, to me, that just sums up Henry.
Oh, absolutely. He's very obsessive compulsive. Like, if he's into drums, he's into drums. Yeah. Or if he's into cars, or if he's into puppies, you'll know about it. Yeah. But turns out, so my wife Lucy, she grew up around Bothwell, and her neighbouring farm was Henry's farm. Oh. So they grew up together. So they were like brothers and sisters. Yeah. So when I was doing shows up around St Helens or Scamander or Bicheno or somewhere, Henry would come up and hang out, but he'd go and visit Lucy because of that family connection. And I didn't really know Lucy at that stage, and Henry didn't really introduce us. He sort of felt like it was 2 different worlds. But now we get to hang out, and so it's this weird connection that they have and I have now, and that's a cool little story.
Yeah, nice. And of course, Simon, we have to talk about Simon.
Yep, Sim's a big part of the story.
Yep.
So he was a teacher, so he was teaching with Lucy at St Helens, and there's a drummer on the coast too, Justin Emerton, or Emo, everyone knows him as. Yep. Plays drums in Whalebone, sort of punk rock band, sort of from the 90s around Lonnie. Hooked us up to do this sort of charity gig in St Helens, and it was like a karaoke with a house band. So Emo's like put this band together, so it was Sim and me and I can't think who else. Anyway, so we got to meet each other. Oh, Sim can play. He's cool. He's kind of got this Primus, like Les Claypool approach, and loves all funky stuff. And legend, funny, just a lovely guy. So I guess the seed was sown then at that time. Oh, cool. Sim's a good guy. Let's sort of get him on board somehow. So when Phil stopped playing bass, I guess naturally, Sim was... Actually, there was a few other bass players in between, but it took time to... I was sort of like kept hinting to Sim, like, oh, here's a CD you should listen to. Yeah. Here's some cool bass playing. So after a while, he kind of really enjoyed the music I was playing, and It was a different approach for him, but he kind of took it on board.
Because I've only sort of seen him playing. Remember the lockdown, the COVID?
The shed sessions.
Yeah, I didn't see any problems
No.
coming out of him in those.
No, it's like he's buried it.
Yeah. Slowed down a bit.
But it's in there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I could talk about Sim for hours because we have a good bloke.
He's a legend.
A legend, good bloke.
Yeah.
It's a bit like this is not. This is a friend thing. It's not like you're a muser. I'm not hanging around and being a fanboy or anything like that. Although my wife does accuse me of that regularly. But Sim, we go and visit them every now. Well, I haven't done for a while, but yeah. He's been away, but yeah, he's a great bloke, and I could sit here and chat about him for hours. But I'm not going to. It's not his turn. Bo?
Yeah, Bo's been on drums for a long time. Where did I first meet Bo? I think I first met Bo at a summer music camp at Newstead College. I was there as a tutor, and Bo was there as a tutor as well. I was like, oh, he's got a cool style. Like, he used to sit up high and have his snare on a full-on angle and sort of have this sort of trad grip thing. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. He's got this sort of jazz background, and I liked his sound and his approach. He had a vintage Slingerland he'd take to gigs, and it's like, oh, I like this guy. Yeah. He's got a vibe. It's the same thing happened. I think Henry moved to Melbourne, found it difficult to commit to gigs in Tassie. So I sort of looked within like the local area for someone who I thought might be a good fit, and Bo was definitely the first point of call. And we've been playing together for a long time. It's probably 15 years or so. It's Bo's.
I reckon that was probably around the time I first sort of met you, when Henry left and Bo come in.
Yep.
And I was thinking to myself, who's going to replace Henry?
Yep.
That's a tough gig to follow.
Absolutely.
And one of your early gigs was at Forth, not with Bo, not unsurprisingly at Forth. You know? And I thought, he's done all right with this guy. He's landed a ripper. Yeah.
Just a different energy he brings to the band. And I think naturally we were getting away a bit from that kind of like full-on power trio stuff. Yeah. Like, I think me, Henry and Sim had this kind of like cream or the experience kind of energy in terms of its explosiveness. Like, we'd just like go off and have massive jams. It was so great. But I think that had sort of run its course a bit. I felt like writing songs having more depth within a song. And Bo was natural to that because he sings. He's got a great voice.
Yeah, he has. Yeah.
And his softer approach to the drums. So I think, that was a real natural kind of.
Yeah. I always enjoyed the power trio things that you'd go off and do those big 10-minute jams.
Oh yeah.
How great is that? And having been part of one of them with you, I thought, I can't do that because I got cramp in my fingers after 5 minutes of solo. You think I can't do that. But I did enjoy those. But once Bo came in off for me, it just changed the whole dynamic of what you were doing. And in a good way as well.
In a good way, yeah. Like, and that's, I think that's what a band has to be. You can't just go, this is the brief, fit to it. You have to go, all right, bring your thing, and we'll all change to suit that or make it the best it can be, right? So you have to really appreciate and to let that just, be a natural part of the sound.
Yeah. So songwriting, talk about that for a second. This album's all yours, your new ones, all your songs?
No, there's 2 covers.
2 covers, all right.
2 covers on the new record.
That's how much research I've done. You always seem to have a couple of covers, but
I always do. I love it. I don't think there's anything wrong with playing. For me, it's almost like paying homage to people that you look up to, respectfully. And a lot of the great, like you listen to that Joe Cocker, Mad Dogs and Englishmen, some great renditions of songs on that. Yep. John Hammond is one of my favourite singers ever, and he doesn't write songs. Yeah. He covers, like, that Wicked Grin album full of Tom Waits songs. It's probably like, I dare say it's my favourite album ever. Yeah. So I don't think having a cover is a bad thing, as long as...
I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
No, I weren't thinking that you were either, but...
some of your my favourite songs off your albums have been covers.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
The Ray LaMontagne
Oh yeah.
song. I love that. I love
So great.
it.
It's a great tune.
Yeah.
Um,
what was it that Henry's greatest? What did Luke Young say about it? It was Henry's greatest accomplishment. Playing the start of that.
Yeah, well,
Something like that,
Luke
yeah.
Young does actually bring that up a bit. He's like, oh, Henry was just like at his peak. He was like, that album, that Groundswell album, it was just like Henry at his most explosive.
I do love the Groundswell album because, you know, I sat down and learnt the whole bloody thing.
You did, yeah.
So we could play it at home one day. But,
Yeah.
I'll go back to your songwriting. Like, some great songwriting. She stole my tape recorder. Now she's on a restraining order.
Yeah. It's,
I suppose it rhymes.
yeah, Dave's chair's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's a ripper, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'm going
is
to
that
get
going
rid
to
of
come
it.
through?
Oh, yeah, it'll be right up there.
Sorry, I'll stand up.
Yes, it is. I'll stand.
I'll sit here. Cool. Now you get out of them.
There you go.
Yeah,
This one does it too.
yeah,
I'm sorry, I was just taking the piss with that. Sorry about that. So your songwriting with your new album, I personally felt there's like a bit more country tone to that. I know you class yourself as an Americana.
Well,
there definitely seemed to be more country feel to it. Was that you, or was that an influence from Matt?
no, that's definitely me.
Yep.
I think just naturally, I'm just getting further and further away from that first blues thing that I established.
Yep.
Not by choice, just a natural evolution of, I guess, becoming a bit older. You know, I don't want to shred on guitar all night. I want to tell a story. I want to get people in different ways. I don't want to just like wow them with notes. And
Have you felt any kickback from that? From your
oh, definitely. I've had a lot of old, well, not old as in age, but I mean like a lot of long-term fans who have gone, oh, why don't you just do like what you used to do? And like, oh, I love it when you just go and play the guitar and
Just go off. And
just go off and play some Hendrix.
Yeah.
And,
We don't want to hear the story. We just want to hear.
yeah, which I can totally appreciate because that, you know, that's another part of my story. I can't just disassociate myself from that. But I don't know. The music I listen to at home is not the guitar player. It's the singer-songwriter who has a story about themselves, or they've created something, or it's a bit of a historical stuff, or I don't know. I remember hearing Neil Young when I was a kid. I used to think, oh, what's he on about? Like where's the content here? Like, he sounds like Mickey Mouse. He's out of tune. He's out of time. What's going on? And then it just clicked one day. It's like, wow, this is really cool. I dig.
I was like that with Lou Reed.
Yeah.
Dude can't sing. What's going on here, you know?
Yeah.
And then I go, oh, actually, I'll get all this. Tom
Yeah.
Waits, the same thing.
Tom Waits, Dylan,
Yeah.
you know, Leonard Cohen, all these great writers might not be the best performers or the best, you know, sometimes it's great to hear, sometimes actually I appreciate a Dylan song more done by someone else, reinterpreted from someone else's perspective or so yeah, I don't know, songwriting, I think that's why I like to cover songs as well by people that I look up to, is so hoping that I can dissect what they do and hopefully that sort of flows on through what I do. And just, I don't know, just I think it's a natural evolution to kind of think about songs differently and, yeah, not just shred on the guitar.
Yeah. Because there was the album before this one, which was Doing Me Good.
Yeah, that's right.
There was the same thing. There was a kickback from that as well.
Oh, 100%.
Definitely got it because Kaz, when she was living here and in the Blues Club in Lonnie, she messaged me and said, "Can you do an album review on Pete's Doing Me Good for you?"
Yeah.
For it, because there's people just kicking back on it and saying, "Yeah, what's he doing?"
Yeah.
And I did. I didn't bag out. Made it look pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's interesting that you move from the blues rock, power trio thing, and then I could see it sort of probably starting in Groundswell a little bit.
Or even in Tumbleweed, I reckon there's a few
Yep.
quieter,
Yeah.
more vulnerable moments on that record. I think, what's the song? It's a song there called Stars, I think, which is like a slow sort of country ballad, really, which does build to this
I do.
almost
I really like that song.
Derek Trucksy kind of
nicely,
outro. But yeah, I don't know. I really hate to put music into a category, into a box, and go, this is what this has to be, and therefore you have to dress like this and put this hat on, or you got to fit in with this genre. And I really don't like that. Even the term Americana, like being an Australian or Tasmanian artist, I don't really like that either.
No, I'm not a fan of Americana because we don't live there. But
Exactly.
if you say Australiana, you're straight off and talking ostentatious, and it's a comedy album.
Totally, yeah.
So I don't know what you
When you sing bush ballads
it's
and
not quite roots or anything like that. So
no, it's and it's
so
not.
I'll just briefly divert for a second.
Yeah.
When not dressing a certain way, the article that Billy was talking about from Riverbend that Dave Dobson put up.
Yeah.
I thought Pete is rocking his best Jimmy Vaughan impersonation here. He's sitting,
Yeah. Oh, Jimmy was my guy.
oh, he still is.
Still
I
is.
don't listen to Stevie Ray anymore. Straight out.
Yeah.
Jimmy Vaughan albums.
Yeah. Well, he had the hair and the strat and that kind of beautiful clean tone and the capo thing, and the energy of that band, actually, the T-Birds back in its day, was so good.
I've been slowly collecting all the vinyl, just those ones with Jimmy on it. I think I've got them all now. It's taken me a while to get them.
Yep. Yeah. But that's, that took time too. I was massively into Stevie, and then I first heard the T-Birds and went, ooh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And now I listen to that much more than I do Stevie. Yeah.
That scratched my back. So the first time I heard that, I thought, how the hell did you get that to sound like that?
Yeah.
I need to do that. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to get there before I could afford to buy an amp that would do it for me. But
Yeah. But even that kind of Leslie thing, like he did that for a long time as well. Like he had a split between a clean Fender and a Leslie, and that was a tone like, you don't buy a Leslie in St Mary's.
No.
How do you get that tone?
But you've got to do it with pedals. That's how we do it.
Yeah.
So future songwriting started yet, or is it going to be 5 years?
It's kind of cool. Like I had contact from a fella in UK who's an Australian dude who co-writes with a lot of people, and he just got in touch cold, sent me an email going, hey Pete, enjoy your work and let's do a co-write. I was like, cool, let's do it. So we've written a song with him. That was really, I've never done that ever.
There was something that, I'm not sure who you had on your podcast, whoever it was, talked about doing co-writes and getting other people involved in the songwriting, and you said it was something you were going to look at.
Yeah, I'm really open to it. I was a bit sceptical and I guess scared. It's like, because it's a vulnerable process.
And protective.
I think you mentioned, might have been for the last record, even about producing and like you always, I suppose, in DIY produced your own stuff and letting someone else have a little bit of input.
Yeah.
Sort of being open to that a bit more.
Yeah, I guess I was a bit protective, but I didn't know anything else either.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm sure half the way you do this is to be creative, and you want to get your hands on it.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't want to give someone else the fun job.
Yeah, and I guess because I do play a lot of other instruments, I kind of know what I want to hear as well. So sometimes I think of a song backwards. Like I'll think of the finished product and then work it back to how it needs to be created. Yeah. So I'm hearing like the finished product first a lot of the time, which has its good and bad. Like sometimes I'll be telling the bass player what to do and it's like, just stop, like trust. Yeah. Trust you've got the right person to do the job and they'll be great, but just don't go, oh, this song goes like this and you should be playing this line. And so, that... it has taken time, but I think it's definitely worth letting the creative bring their own thing and then accepting it. And especially playing with some great players around Australia and Tassie, and it's just been a sweet ride. Yeah.
I had something else I was going with that. No, this is totally... so you've got something in in mine.
Oh, yeah, so future writings. So, yeah, I guess this first co-write was kind of cool. I don't want to push it. It's a funny balance being creative. You sort of, but especially being so busy now as a parent and now that I've actually got a real job, I'm not just playing music anymore.
There's a lot of musicians around who are going to hate you for saying that.
I know, I've given in.
Being a musician is a real job.
Well, it is. It's 100%. It's a real job, but it's been really nice to get something that's not music focused. It's not creative. It's using different parts of my brain, different social scenes, and it's a reliable source of income. It's not, next week I might have 4 gigs, and then the week after that I don't have any, and it just feels good. I feel like, now that I've got 2 kids at high school, I need to start having a future plan for them. Like I'm not necessarily working because I want the work and the money. I'm thinking, I better actually have some sort of thing in the bank I can, maybe help buy a car for them or co-rent somewhere or pay for education and all this stuff. It's like, that's kind of the purpose of that. But in terms of future for me musically,
and that's okay too, but to be able to, like, if you've got to go and pick up a bit of work.
Yeah.
Like
I'm not bashing myself on the head about it.
Yeah, like, some people probably think, oh shit, I'll fail because now I've got a bloody, the music didn't end up paying bills that week.
Yeah. It does come and go. Mentally, it does come and go with that mindset.
Yeah.
Like I think, I've tried so hard, I've really worked my ass off to get to this point. And now what's happened? Like, especially, so 2026 or 2025, put their record out, had some good feedback, some good momentum, a few festival dates. And I thought, great, I'm going to have a really good 2026 because of all this work I've put in.
Yeah.
I have not got one festival on the mainland booked.
Wow. Yeah.
No one has given me, it's always been this like, thanks for applying. We get lots of applications, keep trying.
Yeah.
So lots of rejections and that adds up.
There's probably a few less festivals around than there was a few years ago too.
Yeah. And I'm not current. I'm not, the 18-year-old who's going to, post on Instagram every day about their festival and So I've been
and
around.
You're still DIY too. You don't have a marketing team behind you.
I don't have anyone.
Yeah.
I'm pushing my own barrow.
Yeah.
There's only so long you can keep that wheel spinning.
Yeah.
So I think by doing other things that are not musical will probably starve me and make me hungry again.
Yeah.
And give me more stuff to write about, because if I'm just recycling the same thing over and over, it's like, what am I going to write about now? Is there any more shipwrecks I can sing about?
So when you were saying, like, with your songwriting, you imagine the finished version first and work your way back.
Yeah.
Is it like you've got a riff or something? I've got this little idea of a riff, and you fool around with that, then work your way back.
It's different every time. It really is. Sometimes it's a drum groove. I go, that's a really cool drum groove. Let's put a riff to that. Or most of the time now, it's just a lyric or a little phrase or something that just catches me and go, oh, that's cool. I like that. How can I make that musical or give it some rhythm or build that up? But most of the time, it's lyrical at the moment, which I think might be why I'm kind of thinking about lyrics more than I am musical elements.
Because I haven't written many songs in my life, but all mine start with "woke up this morning." So that's why I don't write many songs.
Yeah.
It'd be easy to get caught in that trap, especially doing blues stuff, of recycling the same stuff over and over.
Absolutely. Which, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as it's honest and you're singing about stuff that you know.
Yep.
There's no point me singing about the cotton fields or, a Georgian pine or, thumbing a ride on a greyhound or, that's not my story.
No.
So I think that I had a very fast realisation about that when I was younger. I'd make up these blues songs and just didn't feel like I was connecting. So
I see that with some of those really young blues artists. You see up great guitarists at 10 and 12, like yourself, singing blues songs about their wives just left them, you know,
Yeah.
like, I don't know what you do. You've got to do something, I suppose. You've got to surely pick the material a little bit better than that, you know. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, I think as long as you're honest, you can sing about anything. And as long as you own the song or somehow put yourself in there and can tell the story, yeah. Otherwise, it's just like, move along. Come on.
Yep.
You can do better.
Yep. Well, let's move along. Let's talk about gear, eh?
Sure.
Sure. We all have one thing in common.
Yeah, we've all got a Tarrant
We've got
guitar.
a Tarrant guitar.
Yeah.
I assume you have one of your own.
I do, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I hope that you're only slaving away building them, you don't have one.
Yeah, no, I do have one.
Yeah. No, I thought I'd bring the King Billy, or King B, as we've named it, back to its birthplace.
Yeah, back to the maternity ward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's it aging, mate? What do you think?
Yeah, it's looking great.
Yeah.
It's looking great. Yeah. It's getting well used, and it's the style and what it is some guitars don't age well, but this one's definitely it will, and it is.
Yeah, mine certainly, it's going a nice little honey colour now.
Yeah,
It's
good.
looking really good. It's got a bit of a, because I don't have a pick guard in mine, so I didn't realise how hard I was on it. You know?
Ah,
You're doing a Willie Nelson.
that's
yeah,
right.
and I
Trigger.
was talking to Bungie the other day about it. And I said, I was thinking about putting the pick guard on it, but I actually don't want to. Because I want to play it, and you know the backstory, and you know most of the backstory why I've got it done. And I want to play it, and I want it to be what it is. I didn't want to pick guard on it. I thought, well, if I damage it, and it's a player. I don't collect guitars as such. It's a player, and it's turned into it's still got original strings on it.
Has it really?
It's still got them, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They must be nearly worn in.
Just
to where how Pete likes
They're
it.
just where Pete likes them. Yeah. Yeah. So,
That's great. Yeah, I'm all for that. I think an instrument has to be an extension of yourself. And if it attracts a few battle scars along the way, that is great because everyone plays a guitar differently, so they're going to have different wear marks. You see Doyle Bramall 2's guitar, and it's just got this weird sort of scratchy mark up above, like on the top horn of the Strats. Like, that's really weird, but he's a left-hander and he plays up there, and that
they
makes
all
sense.
all look weird when they do it anyway. Like the left hand, it's strange.
Yeah.
The way they hold their hand, I don't know.
Yeah,
Normal.
and the way because he's strung his guitar like a right-hander, so it's just been flipped, and I guess his E string's in a different spot, so it's going to wear differently. So it's just stuff like that I think is great. We can't be too precious about instruments.
I've got that 71 SG that Billy re-relicked for me because it had been worked on elsewhere and came back with a bright white neck.
Yeah,
It was. I don't think the white was original colour either, but it had faded yellow.
yeah,
And I gave it to Billy and he vintaged it for me, so it just looks perfect again now. Like
Yeah.
it was because I've been playing it for 40 years and it got yellow from
yeah,
sweat and whatever, and
yeah,
I didn't want to get it refinished because it had wear marks on my arm sits and whatever. And I love that look
yeah,
when it's natural. I'm not a fan
absolutely.
of relicking guitars and stuff.
Yeah, I don't mind it as long as it's not too like. You said the Rory Gallagher Strat, and it looks like Rory's guitar. And I think it looks cool, but it's like, it's a bit far.
Yeah.
Maybe give someone a head start and just take a few chips off here and there.
Not like it's been dragged behind the car.
Yeah. Because that way they don't feel as precious, and then they can start using it to its full potential without being precious. And
I don't think I've owned some cheap guitars, and I might have talked a bit to you about once before, but I don't think I could start throwing my guitar on the floor and
No.
to make it look old. You know, it's like, oh no, it's a guitar. It might only cost me $300, but I'm not doing that.
that's right. It's still a worship piece. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you got to,
Yeah.
idolise
Some of my
this
best
thing.
guitars are $300 guitars. You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you got a favourite guitar? One that you go, I'll pick that up every time I play it. Not necessarily one you're going to tour with or play on stage, but you've got something you just walk over and pick it up and play it.
That's a tough question. Look at
Yeah.
the thought
Yeah, look at
going
that
there.
face.
Wow.
No.
I think still having your first guitar
Yeah.
and gigging it last night's pretty cool.
Yeah, it definitely felt cool. I needed to lower the action or sort of give the neck a tweak. I should have done that. I should have looked at it before I plugged it in. that definitely brought back some memories playing that last night. And just the sounds that it created just like flew me straight back to when I was 15, 16, 17, 18, that kind of early period. Maybe my Stevie Ray Vaughan Strat. I've got a lot of memories and attachment to that. But I don't pick it up and play it either much. I don't know. I don't think I do have a favourite. I have favourites because of certain memories and things that they trigger and sounds that they provoke. And each guitar of mine is so different. I don't have like 5 Strats and 5 Tellys. I've just got a lot of different colours in the palette, so to speak. So each instrument kind of brings a different part of me out. I don't think I have a favourite. Like maybe the acoustic you built.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've done so many miles on that, and that is such a versatile instrument. It's very compact, so it sort of comes with me a lot. And
That did your trip over?
I did my mainland trip with the family.
Yeah.
It's done a lot of miles, just rattling around in the back of a Navara.
Yeah, that's great.
But it's also flown heaps, and I use it. Actually, I don't. I should actually have it in the house. I leave it up in the studio because it's in its case ready to go to the next gigs. But maybe I should get into the habit of unboxing it and putting it in the house. But I'm just a bit lazy, I suppose. It's ready to go.
Amplifiers the same? You've got, I'm assuming you've got a few amplifiers.
Amps are the same, yeah. I kind of go through periods. Like for a while there, I picked up a nice sort of 5E3 Tweed Deluxe. It's a client, it's not a Fender or anything vintage, but for a while there, that was my favourite go-to amp because of its size and the way it broke up. And then I was pairing that with my Princeton Reverb. I think that's the best combo. Those two amps together are so good. But I recently picked up a Bad Cat 15 watter. So I sold my Vox AC 15, which I really loved. I bought that for the Beatles band, basically, because it's some of the Beatles tones. And then, a guy in St Marys was selling a Bad Cat. It's like, no one's ever heard of that happening. So I was like, this has to be a sign. So I picked that up, and I've been really loving that lately. Just having a master volume amp.
Yep.
All my Fenders are all just one volume.
Yep.
So having a pre and a post, it's kind of nice to mess around with that kind of gain relationship. And then, so I don't know if I've got a favourite either. I kind of like really use something to death, and then I'll put it away for a while, and then I'll use something else to death for a while, and then put that away. So,
With your amps, I think I've always seen you play the Fender type thing. You had the bass for a while, and a few different things like that. But when you played with Jesse Redwing, he pulled out a Marshall, and I went,
oh yeah,
I didn't even know he had a Marshall. It sounded really good. I thought, where the hell did that come from?
Yeah.
Pulled it out from the back of the shed somewhere?
Well, I remember I bought that when we were building our house. So I remember like one of the early days of the building construction team being on board, on house, like building up the foundations and stuff, and then the courier came round and delivered my JDM 45 I bought off Gumtree, some guy in Newcastle I think I bought it from. Like, yes, this is great. And then basically the whole Tumbleweed album is that Marshall.
Oh, right.
So it's a JDM 45. And I had the matching tall vintage greenback quad for it and stuff, and that was so great. I guess I was inspired by Doyle Bramhall, who used Marshalls a lot. But also on that first album I did, one called Stepping Out in Blue, Dad was mates with this fella called Ferg Atkins, who's a collector he had so many amazing Fenders, Marshalls, Gibsons, you name it. And he owned a 100-watt Plexi, which was Jack Jones's old Plexi from Southern Sons. Yeah. So he had that Marshall, and I used that for a few tracks on that record. I was like, wow, I like this Marshall thing. And I knew that Jimmy and Hendrix and Steve Ray Vaughan used Marshalls a lot as well. So I knew that they weren't too bad, but it's just a thing like, I guess the convenience of a Fender, you just pick it up, there's your combo, go to the gig. Whereas the Marshall, you had the sort of head, quad, loud, So, but anyway, yeah, I like all the flavours. So now I've got the Voxy flavour, I've got the Marshall flavour, and I've got a few different Fender flavours. It's not just one either. It's like the blackface or the brownface or the tweed. Lots of different styles of Fender sounds. And I haven't gone digital yet, and I don't think I ever will.
And I've seen you have a bit of a play around with that too. I've seen you selling speakers and stuff on.
Yeah, I love to get under the hood a bit.
Yeah, you get
tinker with things.
Yeah.
I've stopped buying all this stuff. I used to
Yeah, that's right.
I used to buy all the foot pedals. Like, oh, look at that! I'll buy that. Most of them sit in the cupboard like they were probably your place.
Yeah. Yeah, I love to get under the hood. Same with the guitars. Sometimes I'll, like that Kudacaster I built up.
Yeah.
I just love to tinker a bit and to customise. And
that was my next question. I was going to ask about the Kudacaster.
Yeah, so that was great. And that Telly I've got as well, which I always wanted one of those Charlie Christian style pickups. And so I built a Telly up with one of those. And I probably spawned from my very first Strat, that Kenora Strat we're talking about, with different pickups and different paint job and stuff like that.
You very nearly didn't get the Kudacaster.
Well, that's right, yeah.
Dave,
you picked it up for me.
I picked it up for you, and I thought I might just keep this. I'll give Pete his money back and I'll hold it. It was just a guitar. There was no parts on it. It was just a nice guitar.
But you strung it up in the end or not?
What's that?
Did you just string it up in the end and have a play?
I think I strung it up and had a play and thought, oh, yeah, this is all right.
Yeah, it was cool. Nice big chunky neck on it. Yeah. No, I know, they're just lovely things to have, and I probably should sell more of them. But I just like to have them around.
A group of mates I'm with doing music stuff, and people always talk about selling their albums and CDs and whatever, and they're never cold. Never get rid of your stuff because you want it next week.
Yeah, one day you'll go, geez, I wish I had that thing. Yeah.
I'm the same. Like I've got my vase, which has not been plugged in for 3 years.
Right.
Like I probably need to sell that.
Yeah.
But it would only fund something else.
Yeah.
But I just can't bring myself to sell it. Because one day I'm going to plug it in and go, oh, that sounds really good. I like that sound.
Yeah, and if you don't have it, you'll want it.
Yeah. Because all my stuff's pretty much Fender stuff now.
Yeah. I know there are definitely lots of things on the want list. I played a J45 Gibson in Hobart the other week. I went, I don't have a slope shoulder style Gibson acoustic.
Yep.
That dry woody.
Is that down at Top Shelf?
Yeah.
Was it? I think I saw that.
Yeah. I'm like, and it was funny. Like I went and played it, and then I drove from there to Ulverston for a gig, and I followed a car for about an hour. Its number plate was J45.
Oh, it's a sign, hey?
No shit. I was like, wow. It's a sign. And I'll be 45 in a couple of years, so maybe we can make this work.
Yeah.
Ever build a J45, Billy?
I know a guy that can.
I think one of the things we say, you'll be 45 in a few years, and one of the things that I think a lot of people sort of forget that you are only 40. You've been around for 30 years, and people kind of may have the impression that you are older than you really. Just purely because you've been going since you're 9 or 10.
Yeah. It's funny, I do have people turn up to gigs sometimes, and they're like, oh, you're Pete Cornelius. I thought you were going to be about 80, because I guess I have been doing it a long time, and people just, I guess, think in their mind I'm a particular age. And
you haven't had the fresh 18-year-olds going, oh, my parents used to come and watch you play back in the day.
Well, I have had young guitarists come and go, oh, you were an inspiration. Like some of your early records, I've learnt to play, and you were a part of the reason I play guitar, and I think that's bloody great.
That's awesome.
I love that.
Well, you've been around long enough for people to I suppose box you up into I just wish you'd play what you were doing 20 years ago. Where's all the guitar solos going?
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So you've been around long enough for that to happen.
Yeah, to have that catalogue of.
One of my funniest moments was at Devondale. We were playing up there, and we were sitting around under a whatever, and the breaks had come over, the band had come over and had a chat and a beer and whatever. You're up there playing, and this bloke came over and said to me, Pete, your son, is he? And I thought, he should be so lucky. I said, oh no, just friends.
Just friends.
Yeah. No, you've got a great dad, Bruce, and your mum, Julie, great people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mind you, Dave, you've got a good sense in dress, like I can see the connection.
Yep.
You have to make me a shirt one day.
I will.
Actually.
I will. Yes, I'll get round to it after Gumnuts. Yeah.
Great. I'd love a custom slow hand
Yeah.
embroidered shirt.
Yeah. It's been interesting. I really enjoy it. We'll get some Tarrant ones.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Some nice Tarrant ones up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? Anything else?
It's probably a bit like the guitar question. Most memorable gig you've ever played?
Most memorable gig.
Or
There's-
most memorable gig you've ever seen?
Oh,
That's probably a worse question.
bloody hell. I think I can wrap up that with probably the same answer for both.
Yeah.
It would be Blues Fest up at Byron.
Yeah. Actually, I've got the...
Oh, he's got the flyer or the program.
2009, was it?
That was one of them. I reckon my favourite gig as a performer, the most memorable.
11 o'clock at night.
Oh, there we go. Look at
Next
this.
one is...
Yeah.
But then
Wowzers.
you were also there the year Chris Whitley was there, and that's a different
Yeah.
gig to that. So you've done it.
We've probably played it 4 or 5 times.
Oh, yeah.
And I have played it as a sideman as well.
Okay.
So I've played bass there with a chick called Joanne Shaw-Taylor from the UK.
Yep.
Me and Henry were her backing band, and we'd toured around capital cities supporting Joe Bonamassa, and then we'd do the Blues Fest show as well with her, which
Yeah.
was bloody great.
Yep.
But I think my most memorable time on stage would be at Blues Fest. Fiona Boys was playing with Hubert Sumlin from Howlin' Wolf's band, and she had Chris Wilson on harp. And I remember Steve, her husband, come up to me and said, "Pete," because I was backstage watching the gigs, this is great. And the next day they had another gig, and he's like, "Oh, do you want to get up for a song next show?" He's like, "Fucking yeah, I'd love to get up there." He's like, "All right, go and learn Smokestack and, see you on stage tomorrow." I was like, "Great, this is so good." So, I had a little refresh of Smokestack, and amazing. On stage with Hubert and Fiona and the whole tent's like jumping. It's a vibe. It's such a great
Interesting
vibe.
bloke, Steve the Preacher, isn't he?
Sure is. Sure is.
I've never heard a man of the cloth swear so much.
I know. It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that was great. Did the song. It was a vibe. It was such a, heart was racing, and it was such a cool thing. And because I'd actually met Hubert in the States previously, so it was nice to kind of reconnect. He didn't remember, but it was good for me. But then 2 seconds after the song had finished, Chris Wilson with his sleeve pulled up, he's like, "We'll do it evil, ready, 1, 2, just counted it off." I was still on stage. He's like, looked at me going, "You're not going anywhere, you stay on stage." He had this sort of demanding presence. I was like, "Fuck, all right. Yes, sir, Mr. Wilson." So then the band kicked off Evil, another Howlin' Wolf classic. And it was such a trip. I was like, wow, this is so cool to be on stage with these guys. And then, I know I've had great moments with my own band and stuff, but just being interjected with this thing and then thrown off stage, it's just like, wow, that's probably one of my favourite moments ever.
Awesome.
But I think as a punter watching music, I think at Blues Fest, seeing Chris Whitley, I had never heard of him, seeing him on stage and then meeting him, having a chat backstage, that was a very memorable experience. But I think probably one of my favourite gigs was at Blues Fest, sitting side stage. I've never seen or heard of Ernest Ranglin, but sitting on side stage watching him perform with his, I think it was a quartet. They were bunched up really tight on stage and then just play the most beautiful kind of, mix of ska, reggae and jazz. And so, I don't know, it was so incredible. That was probably one of my greatest guitar moments, I suppose. I think Blues Fest as a whole, you get to go and see someone like Buddy Guy, and then you're going to get to see someone like Solomon Burke, and then you're going to get to see Steve Earle, and then you're going to get to see Lucinda Williams, and then you're going to get to see Jackson Brown.
That's just day one.
That's just day one. The Wailers are on.
That's what Jazz Fest New Orleans is like, except that goes for 2 weekends and you just don't know where to look.
Yeah.
you can't even plan your day out because it's mind-blowing. Yeah.
It's mind-blowing. And then you get to see the Black Dan Auerbach and the Black Keys, and then you go and see the Fun Loving Criminals. And then you hear the Waifs, like hear Josh's great guitar playing and see James Brown, stuff like that. I think, I can't pinpoint one show, but definitely I think that Ernest Ranglin gig was very special, sitting side stage watching that.
Yeah. How about you, Billy?
Yeah, what's yours?
I was at the same Chris Whitley.
Yep.
I think I did 6 years in a row for Blues.
Wow.
Back in the day. Yep. I remember every year it was like you get to day 5, it's like, Dave Matthews Band's playing. I just want to go and have a sleep. Like, it's such an effort, and I remember at the end of it, you go, next year I'm going to physically train for this.
Yep.
Because just 5 days and a few drinks, and it's hard work. But the Chris Whitley one, because I had a similar thing and had a chat to him after that gig.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I still. I don't know.
It's a hard question.
It is a really hard question.
It's a tough one. I was actually.
I've enjoyed different things for different reasons.
I was thinking about it the last couple of days, and I thought it might come up. And I've got a favourite Pete gig, which was at Bendigo Blues Festival, and he'd had a pretty ordinary festival up to them. When you played at the rock and roll dance up the fire station, whatever, and it's that last gig on the Sunday night, and played down in the downstairs bar at the Shamrock. I don't know what it was called, but it was
Gold Dust
almost
Lounge.
Well, we'll give you 2 hours of the best we got, and then we got 2 hours of the best we got. And Simon Wooldridge, a friend of mine from Bendigo, he wrote a book about Bendigo music, and he just got a whole heap of people to give him their favourite Bendigo gig, and I was lucky enough to write, because I've been there a few times, and he said, would you want to write about your favourite gig? So that's in it. It's actually in a book somewhere.
It's in
I have
print.
a copy of it at home, but I have 2 favourite gigs. I have a lot of, a bit like you go, it's hard, but I have 2 things that stick out for me. One was Robert Lockwood Jr., or Robert Jr. Lockwood, not sure where he goes. Yep. He toured Tasmania in 1986 or 87.
Wow.
Played at the Seabrook Hotel, and I went out, I must have been 87. Something like that. I went there with Bungie, because sort of just starting to get in a bit of blues stuff, and he dragged me up there, and I was looking at him, and I couldn't figure, he was only playing what I would say standard blues stuff. He must have had his own tuning. He's one of those guys that's learnt to play, and this is tuning his guitar, and I was looking at his fingers and going, what the hell are you doing?
Yep.
Couldn't figure it out. And I was only a beginner player at that stage anyway.
Yep.
I probably wouldn't have figured it out even today. I'd look at it, but and that just blew me away. And it was just played up blues. There's nothing flash about it.
Yep.
It's just that was one. The other one was in Florida at Y&E Music Festival. That's when I discovered Marcus King when he released his first album. He wasn't known, and just popped up on Spotify, and I thought, I quite like this, And when we decided to go to the Y&E Festival, there was widespread panic, and I can't think else was playing. A whole heap of top bands there. And right at the bottom, Marcus King Band.
Yep.
It was the last person named. And I said to Baz, that's it. I'm just excited for that, to go and see Marcus King. And he played on a Sunday at 11 o'clock in the morning. And there was 2 stages and it was on the small stage, and it was packed.
Wow.
Everyone was like me. We'd all listen to it and we've got to go and see this guy, and it was packed. And the compere said, we've never seen this many people here at 11 o'clock on Sunday. They're normally all still sitting up there stoned off their face,
Yeah.
That was great, but my favourite part was, he finished the gig and they put him on a trailer behind a truck. The whole band towed him around the site, the camp, massive area, carried him around the campsite, and I'm literally you to me away, standing there watching him play.
So he was performing on the stage while I was going around.
He was playing the whole album on the trailer. It was 35 degrees. These guys are melting up there, and they've given it all. And
amazing.
We're just sort of standing there. I was probably closer. I was less than a metre away from him, just standing there going, oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So good.
I've got
Especially.
an answer for you.
Oh, right. Yep.
Yeah.
Jackson Brown at Regent Theatre, him and 14 guitars and a piano. That was it. He walked out and said, "What do you want to hear?"
Yep.
And every time he'd look at his rack. And, "Oh, try this one."
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
But then Tori Amos.
Yep.
At Home Hall.
Yeah.
Just her and the piano. Yeah, 2.5 hours. I'm probably more the instead of the all guns blazing.
Yep.
Rip your face off.
Yeah.
Just a bit more intimate.
Yeah.
I think.
And I think for an all-up show, I took my kids to see Pink many years ago,
Oh, yeah.
and it just blew me away. I was not even the least bit interested in going to see Pink.
Yeah.
Took the kids there, and that's a hell of a stage show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's so many elements of entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
Like sometimes you want to do the big stage show where there's lights and cameras and pyrotechnics and, dancers and stuff. But sometimes, like you said, Billy, just like that stripped down, bare bones. Like when we saw Gillian Welsh and Dave Rawlings at the Opera House last year, that was incredible.
I saw it at Home Hall. Yeah.
So good. And they stepped, like for the last song, they stepped in front of the mics
Oh, yeah.
and just did this unplugged version of, what did they do in the end? I think it was Long Black Veil. It was so cool. I was like, wow. I'm witnessing a part of history here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I saw them with Dose and Susan at Home Hall in Melbourne, same
Yeah.
tour. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're here again now, actually. I think they're doing more tours around Australia, which is good. Hopefully they come
Pretty
back.
much nearly at the same time.
Yeah.
I think it
It was mid-Jan, I think, last year,
was
was it?
mid to late January. So, yeah. Baz and Susan went up to, they saw them twice at Sydney and
Yep.
twice in Melbourne. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool. Music's such a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't know what I'd do without it.
No.
I'd be a grumpy old man.
I get accused of that often, but it's been a part of my life from the time I can remember. Like your dad, my dad had albums, Beatles and Dylan and that sort of stuff. And as I've grown up, I've just continued along the way with all different albums and different styles and whatever. I've got a pretty decent music collection, but as Tamara has often said to me, my wife, she says, if I hadn't met you, she said, I would have been a boring person, I reckon. No. She said, we'd never have gone to a gig, we'd never have gone to a festival, anything like that. And, I get in trouble now for booking too many things, but that's,
I'm just noticing, we played a few sets before Rodney Crowell. Like,
Wow.
it's crazy. And James Hunter, Sonny Landreth.
Yeah, there's some names on there, Pete.
Yeah, wow. It was a big gig.
He's a great player, Sonny Landreth.
Oh, incredible.
Seen him a few times.
Yeah.
Plays in New Orleans at the Rock and Bowl on a Sunday night,
Wow.
and he gets up there and he's just
With his dumble?
bowling alley.
You got his dumble?
Yeah, I don't know. I just got there watching playing. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Can't figure that out.
Yeah.
Watching him bend notes behind the slide. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you doing this? Oh, yeah. Oh, well, we're just about done, are we?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Right.
Oh no, you're the man behind the mic today, Dave.
All right. Well, I've got to wrap it up.
Yeah, come
All
on.
right, I've got to thank Billy and
Sign me off.
Pete for coming in and doing this with all of us. It was supposed to be an informal chat, and I think it pretty was. So, yeah, we'll sign it off from Say It With Guitars, the special Pete Cornelius.
Oh, thanks for having me, Dave.
Yeah, no worries.
Cheers.
I must tell you this before we go. Did I ever tell you I had an uncle called Peter,
Right.
and his middle name was Cornelius?
No way.
Yeah. Yep. That's
Really?
true. That's the truth. Yep.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. See you all later.
See you guys. Thank you.
That's it.
Thanks for listening, folks, to another episode of Say It With Guitars. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to the podcast, share it around to your mates, leave a good review, and hopefully we'll see you next time.